Alright guys, welcome back. Thank you for clicking on this video. So today we're going to be looking at some home truths about wild camping. So we're going to run into problems when we're in the outdoors. It's a matter of time, it's inevitable. One of those problems, and probably is the one that people struggle the most with, is getting a good night's sleep in the outdoors. So I've came up with some tips and tricks on how you can get a better night's sleep in the wild. Let's get straight into it. Right, number one is location. So there's a couple of factors to this one. The first one is finding an isolated spot where you're not worried about any dog walkers or anyone just stumbling through your camp. If you're not too far away from a footpath or something, that little bit of unease is just going to keep you up all night, like worrying about it. The other factor is when you get to that ideal spot, you want to be looking out for widow makers, any dead trees that could potentially fall on you. If you're down by a river or a stream and the weather conditions aren't looking too good, maybe you run the risk of flash floods or something like that. So yeah, number one, before you even get to your camp, is finding that ideal location. Number two is familiarize yourself with your gear. So I think we all know by now not to trust what the manufacturer says on their website about how low down your sleeping bag will take you, what temperature your air mat will take you, or your foam mat. You need to be going out and testing your own gear yourself and working out, checking the temperatures throughout the night and find out the ideal temperature that your gear will take you to. Another thing with your gear is finding all the little hacks and everything you need to know about it. For example, my tent, the zip gets stuck at the exact same spot every single time and it's an absolute nightmare. When I want to get up in the middle of the night to go for a wee or whatever and I'm trying to unzip that zip, it's just not ideal. So what I've learned to do is to not peg it out as tightly on that corner, just leave it a little bit loose so that zip can run up and down nice and smoothly. So I think it's fair to say it takes a bit of time for you to learn your gear and adapt it to the different situations you encounter in the outdoors. So number three, this is something I've started doing recently and it's helped me out so much, and that is sleeping on your back. So unfortunately, yeah, we can't bring our memory foam mattresses out with us when we're camping, and no matter how much you pay for a nice foam mat or a nice air mat, it's never going to be as good. So sleeping on your side, I always end up waking up with a dead arm or a dead leg or pins and needles, you know. So what I've done is I've started sleeping on my back when I'm out camping, and it helps out so much. It's a little bit unnatural at first, but if you can get the hang of it, trust me, you wake up feeling much fresher, no aches and pains, and just throughout the night it's just going to be a lot more comfortable for you. So you may need to force this one a little bit at the start, but it does relieve all that pressure that you put in. Say if you're on your side, all that pressure you're putting on your arm or your leg, it just takes that away, and trust me on this one, it's much better for you. Right, number four is maintaining a certain standard of hygiene. So as you would at home, you've got a nice little bedtime routine where you're brushing your teeth, having a wash down. The same should apply when you're in the outdoors as well. Not only is this going to prepare the mind that it's time to sleep now, but also nobody wants to jump into a sleeping bag smelling from a long day's hike. Also having a fresh base layer and a fresh pair of socks to chuck on in the night as well is obviously ideal. So this will give you that nice snug comfy feel, but also if you've been doing a big long hike or you've been grafting around camp all day, the clothes you're wearing throughout the day are just going to be sweaty, and trapping all that sweat in your sleeping bag is just going to cool you down at night, making for an uncomfortable sleep. Number five is eating before you go to bed. So you know when you have a massive meal throughout the day and you need to put your head down on the couch for 10 minutes, well, the same applies for me in the woods too. If I just before bed, it gets me in that nice sleepy mindset. But also because your body is now digesting that food, I feel like it heats you up as well in the night, it keeps you warm. I understand if this one isn't for everyone. I don't know if it's too healthy to be eating away at night, but I've never had a problem with it, so it works for me. Right, number six is having an alternative heat source. So an obvious one for this is having a campfire. If you're under a tarp, you're going to be able to benefit from the warmth of a campfire, but other options are, and I go on about this all the time, you're probably sick of hearing it, but if you've got a single walled stainless steel water bottle, you can boil up some water, put it in there, wrap it up in some spare clothing, and you've got a lovely warm water bottle for the night. And it's actually surprising how long it'll stay warm for as well. And then you've got other options like the disposable hand warmers, electric hand warmers, and Zippo do one as well, where you just add fuel. So there's plenty of alternative heat sources you can get for when you're wild camping in the outdoors. What I would like to say about this one is you do need to be cautious about condensation build-up. Now 99% of the time it's been spot on for me. I've never had a problem, but one of my recent camps when I was in a bivvy bag and I was using the hot water bottle technique, I did notice I had quite a lot of condensation in between my bivvy bag and my sleeping bag. So something to be aware of if you're using alternative heat sources. Number 7, and it might sound like an obvious one, but there's a little bit more to it, and that is going for a wee. So obviously before going to bed you want to go out and do your business, but also in the middle of the night if it's cold and you need a wee, do you get up, do you not? It's always better to get up and go for a wee. If you've got that alternative heat source like we mentioned earlier, then you'll have no problem warming back up again, but also in the long run it's going to benefit you. If you're holding in a wee, it's going to take heat away from your body to keep that wee warmed up. I don't know the exact science to it, but it goes something along the lines of that. So yeah, it's always better to get up and go, come back quickly, jump back in your bag, get warmed up again. Right, number 8 is cover your head. So the obvious way to do this is by chucking a hat on or chucking a hood over your head. I know some people like to cover themselves with their sleeping bag. Now you do need to be cautious when doing this. I've done it a couple of times myself, to be fair, and I've woke up in the middle of the night struggling to breathe. So if you're going to do that, then you need a big tunnel for the airflow to come in and out. As well, you need to be cautious about extra condensation that may gather if you're doing this, but overall it will heat you up more, resulting in a better night's sleep. And that ties on with my next one. Number 9 is choosing a quilt over a sleeping bag. So warmth wise, I'm not too sure if there's any difference between the quilt and the sleeping bag. The extra bit of fabric you get on the bag, you're condensing down anyways, and it's not going to give you any extra warmth. But the benefits of a quilt are, if you're putting your head under the blanket, then it's going to be easier to have that big tunnel of airflow. Also on the opposite scale, a lot of the time when I just get into bed at the start of the night, I'm actually pretty hot, so I can easily just stick my leg out or stick my arm out to cool me down, regulate my temperature better. And then in the early hours of the morning when it does get a little bit chilly, then I can just pull everything back in and I stay nice and warm. Also with a quilt, you're going to be a lot less restricted than you are in a sleeping bag, so you can move about a lot easier. It's just going to be a lot more comfortable overall. So I've been using the Snug Pack hammock quilt and it's spot on, to be honest. There's no zips, there's no buttons, so I don't have to mess about with any of that during the night. It has some big flaps around the side so you can tuck them in to stop any draft coming in. I think it's a very underrated quilt, that one, that not many people seem to be using. Right, number 10, and this one is a huge one for me, and that is keeping everything organised. So I'm proper OCD when it comes to this. With my backpack, everything has its own place. As well, around camp, once I'm set up, everything has a designated spot that it goes to, so I'm not losing anything. So yeah, you may not want to be as over the top as I am, but at least on a night time when it comes to going to sleep, you want to have a few important items that you may need throughout the night next year where you know exactly where they are. So if you need to get up and go for a wee, you know you've got your headlight on your left hand side right next to you, you can just pick up, get it on, do whatever you need to do and come back. Some other important things you may need is your mobile phone, a knife in case there's any grizzly bears you will need to battle throughout the night. So yeah, number 10, having everything organised is a massive one for me. If you are using your headlight throughout the night, try keeping it on the red light setting if you have one, so you're not exposing yourself to too much bright light, which is not going to wake you up as much, so you can put your head down, get back to sleep quicker. What I do as well is I try to only have one eye open. It's a bit crazy like, but the less light getting into my eyes throughout the night I find is better, and it helps me just get back to sleep quicker. Okay, so there we have it, 10 ways how you can achieve a better night's sleep in the outdoors. Some of these may work for you, some may not, but hopefully I've gave you a few options to try on your next wild camp. So even after trying all these methods myself, sometimes it's inevitable and you're just not going to get a good night's sleep no matter what you try. At the end of the day, you're in an unfamiliar setting and you're going to be fighting against those animal instincts of wanting to stay alert. Over time, I feel like just the more we do it, the more comfortable we get with sleeping outside, the easier it gets as well. Okay everyone, thank you for watching and I'll see you on the next one. Right, little bonus one for you if you're still here. Nice one, thank you. Little bonus one, and that is, if all else fails, you've tried everything on this list, Dazzy, it's not working, what am I going to do? Right, one last thing, just neck some whiskey, neck a flask of whiskey, and you're good to go. You'll be away with the fairies in no time. Little bonus one for everyone who's hung around. Thank you. Peace.